Welcome to 25 Days of Animal Facts. Today we're going to be talking about horses. The focus of my series is wild animals, and I am talking about North American animals mostly, so the horse is going to be a bit of a controversial one. You may have heard them be called wild horses, feral horses, or mustangs. I think for this video I'm just going to stick with mustangs to avoid confusion. Due to the Wild Free-Roaming Horses and Burros Act, passed in 1971 by President Richard Nixon, it is illegal to do any harm to wild horses or to kind of capture them in any way and tame them as like a wild pet, unless you are going through proper government agencies which do aim to take some of the horses off of the range and domesticate them or otherwise place them into homes. So around 3 to 4 million years ago, we did have a native horse. It was actually the ancestor to the modern horse, but modern horses did evolve overseas before being reintroduced to the Americas. There is some evidence to suggest that there may have been a native wild horse here that survived despite this separation, but there's not concrete evidence yet, so at this time the running theory is that the Spaniards had brought over the horses that we see today. In fact, the word Mustang actually has Spanish origins. So the word Mustang actually originates from two different Spanish words, Mustango and, I'm sorry I have to read this, but Mustranco. I probably mispronounced those because I do not speak Spanish. But Mustang essentially means wild or masterless cattle, which is fitting because according to the American Museum of Natural History, these wild horses, the ancestors of the horses that Spaniards brought over, are not natives to the Americas. Again, the last known horses that were in the Americas had gone extinct about 10,000 years ago due to climate change and human interaction. These days, horses are mainly managed by something called roundups, where they will capture wild horses and put them into different roundup pens. And ultimately, very few people actually support these roundups, whether people are pro-horse and think that we should leave them alone, or they think that the feral horses don't belong here in the US. Otherwise, there are a couple of predators that will go after horses, namely wolves, grizzly bears, and mountain lions. I believe that the latest population estimates are just shy of 69,000 horses currently in the US. The majority of those are here in my home state, Nevada. Nevada also completely lacks wolves and does not have any grizzly bears going after them, only mountain lions who mainly only go after them away from the mountains, so any mountain lions who are in more open range kind of areas. So unfortunately, due to this lack of predator control that we have these days, because our ecosystems did evolve without horses and humans have drastically changed the ecology of the United States and the world in general, horses populations can drastically increase if humans don't control it in some way. And that's because horses are highly adaptable animals. They have figured out how to make the harsh deserts work for them. For example, horses have a nearly 360-degree field of vision, so you're not going to be sneaking up on them anytime soon. They also stick together in herds, which is not just because they like to have friends, but it actually is a safety measure. Usually a herd will be about 1 stallion to 8 mares, so 1 male to around 8 females. A horse is a very large animal, so not only is their grouping together going to help them, but not many things want to go after a wild horse in the first place, and they are always ready to go. A horse can sleep standing up, and very shortly after birth, the foals are able to run. But for all their strengths, they do also have some weaknesses. Their design is a little weird. For example, they can't breathe through their mouth, and they're unable to throw up, so these are things that can actually kill them. If you would like to learn more about wild horses, mustangs, feral horses, whatever you want to call them, go ahead and just learn more about our domestic horses. Not only do they interbreed with domestic horses, but sometimes people will just release their horses out into the wild when they can no longer care for them, and at their core, they are all the same species. Otherwise, I hope that you're able to learn something new or interesting about mustangs today.